China renews its call for the pullout of a United States mid-range capability missile in the country. In a press conference on Thursday, January 23, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning said China once again calls on the Philippines to heed a call from regional countries to quickly pull out the Typhoon missile system as publicly pledged and stop going further down the wrong path. The spokesperson made the call in response to a Reuters report which stated that the U.S. deployed its Typhoon missile launchers to a new location in the country. Mao Ning stressed that the Philippines is creating tensions and antagonism in the region and inciting geopolitical confrontation by bringing the strategic offensive weapon. She added that the Philippines is doing a highly dangerous move and an extremely irresponsible choice for its own people, the people of the other Southeast Asian countries, and regional security. Last December, Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro Jr. addressed China's objections to the missiles, saying that keeping the missiles in the country is not targeted against specific countries. Instead, the move is targeted against security risks, threats, and challenges. The Typhoon missile arrived in the country from the United States on April 11, 2024, and was first used during its bilateral war games with the country. The Philippine Army said the ground-based missile system was also used for the bilateral army drills between Manila and Washington, which was already finished on September 22, 2024. However, Army spokesperson Colonel Louis de Maala, in an interview on Friday, January 24, says the missile system will stay in the country until further notice as both countries conduct evaluations if it will be used in future drills. When asked about the whereabouts of the missile system, de Maala tells INQUIRER.net that he has no information on the matter. The deployment of Typhoon missile in the country comes amid mounting tensions in the West Philippine Sea due to Manila and Beijing's overlapping claims. Meanwhile, in response to Mao Ning's remarks, the Armed Forces of the Philippines says on Friday that only the Philippines and no other country can decide the deployment of any military asset within its territory. The Armed Forces of the Philippines says only the Philippines and no other country can decide the deployment of any military asset within its territory. In an interview on Friday, January 24, AFP spokesperson Colonel Francel Margaret Padilla says there is no single entity who can dictate how the country would do its deployments in terms of defenses. Padilla's statement is in response to the remarks of China Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning, who reiterated Beijing's opposition to the United States Typhoon mid-range missile capability that has been in the Philippines for several months now. According to Padilla, it is an inherent right of every state to heighten and strengthen their defenses accordingly. Padilla likewise confirms previous reports that the Typhoon missile had been transferred to an undisclosed location. The AFP official notes that such actions could be done whenever there are preparations for drills. However, Padilla did not say if this development is related to the upcoming annual war games between Manila and Washington held every first quarter of the year. The Typhoon missile arrived in the country from the United States on April 11, 2024 and was first used during the Balikatan exercises. It has stayed in the country since and was last spotted in Ilocos Norte, a coastal province facing Taiwan which is deemed by China as a renegade province subject to reunification. In 2024, AFP Chief General Romeo Bronner Jr. said he wants a Typhoon missile to stay in the country forever and that he hopes the Philippines could acquire its own. On Thursday night, January 23, Mao Ning urged the Philippines to heed the call from regional countries to quickly pull out the Typhoon missile system as publicly pledged and stop going further down the wrong path. The deployment of Typhoon missile in the country comes amid mounting tensions in the West Philippine Sea due to Manila and Beijing's overlapping claims. However, in July 2016, the Philippines earned a historic arbitral award that effectively rejected China's sweeping claims in the West Philippine Sea. President Bongbong Marcos is not blocking the processing of the impeachment complaints against Vice President Sara Duterte, according to Malacanang. In a press conference on Friday, January 24, Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin refutes the claim of lawmakers from the Makabayan bloc at the House of Representatives that Marcos's alleged interference is causing the delay in the impeachment proceedings against Duterte.
He's not blocking, he cannot do that because it is the discretion of the collective of the lower house. If they decide to initiate, there is no way of preventing that.
According to Bersamin, the president is merely expressing his views on the impeachment move but is not dictating the lower chamber to delay the processing of the complaints. Bersamin says the House has the prerogative to endorse the impeachment complaints against Duterte.
You know that under the Constitution, the impeachment must emanate from the lower house. Okay? Now, if the president has made a statement at all about that process, it is only an opinion that he stated, because probably the thinking of the president is that might be distracting us from our agenda and our move forward. No?
In November 2024, Marcos said filing an impeachment complaint against Duterte would only distract the government from its real work, which is to improve the lives of all Filipinos. The president in January then maintained his stand on the issue of Duterte's impeachment, saying that it is not practical to push for the impeachment because of its poor timing, especially that the midterm elections is near. Duterte is facing 3 impeachment complaints before the House of Representatives for alleged violation of the Constitution, betrayal of public trust, plunder and malversation, bribery, graft and corruption, and other high crimes as grounds for impeachment. The palace says that the Philippines' stance on withdrawing from the International Criminal Court remains unchanged, but it will cooperate if the International Tribunal makes requests through the International Criminal Police Organization. In a press conference on Friday, January 24, Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin was asked whether the country is changing its position on the International Criminal Court after Justice Secretary Jesus Crispin Remulla expressed openness to discussing the previous administration's bloody war on drugs with the International Criminal Court. Bersamin says,
"We have withdrawn from the ICC, membership from the ICC, and that withdrawal is already in effect. Pero we have been very clear in our statements regarding this. If the ICC makes a move and courses the move through the Interpol, and the Interpol makes the request to us for the arrest or delivery of the custody of a person subject to ICC jurisdiction, we will respond favorably or positively to the Interpol request."
A Reuters article dated January 23 said that Remulla would be willing to talk to the International Criminal Court in a very well-defined manner in the spirit of comity. According to Remulla, there are certain areas in which the Philippine government and the International Criminal Court could cooperate, but he emphasized that lines have to be drawn properly. In the same press conference, Bersamin says he did not know which areas of cooperation Remulla was referring to.
Wala namang definite na o klaro na sinabi na magko-cooperate kaagad. Okay? I do not even know kung ano ang ibig sabihin ni Secretary Boying. But as far as experience has given to the government shows, yung request ng Interpol should always be respected. Because the Interpol is also doing a service in other areas similar to this. So that's the meaning of committee.
Meanwhile, Senator Hontiveros on Friday says that Remulla's openness to talk to the International Criminal Court regarding the war on drugs is a silver lining for all victims of extrajudicial killings. Senator Hontiveros says Justice Chief Jesus Crispin Remulla's openness to talk with probers of the International Criminal Court regarding the previous administration's bloody war on drugs is a silver lining for all victims of extrajudicial killings. In a statement on Friday, January 24, Hontiveros says Remulla's willingness gives hope that real justice for the thousands of victims of the drug war could finally come. According to Hontiveros, if there will be discussions between the government and the International Criminal Court about the war on drugs, she hopes the government would see that it needs to help in the investigation, not just because of the country's treaty obligations, but for the families of drug war victims. Earlier, Remulla in an interview with Reuters said the Philippines is willing to talk to the International Criminal Court in a very well-defined manner in the spirit of comity. Without detailing further, Remulla said there are certain areas that the Philippine government and the International Criminal Court could cooperate with, but Remulla also emphasized that lines have to be drawn properly. President Bongbong Marcos previously made it clear that his administration will not lift a finger to help any investigation that the International Criminal Court conducts regarding former President Rodrigo Duterte's brutal campaign against drugs. The Commission on Elections is considering issuing a resolution that would compel candidates to participate in debates. In an interview with Radyo 630 on Friday, January 24, Comelec Chairman George Garcia says that while there is no law mandating candidates to attend debates, the poll body can endorse debates conducted by different media outlets. Garcia also urges media outlets to organize political debates to help voters scrutinize candidates, including their stand on certain issues. Garcia then recalls the 2022 elections when the Comelec sponsored a debate, saying that it was contrary to the law. Citing Section 7 of Republic Act No. 9006 or the Fair Election Act, Garcia says that Comelec may require national television and radio networks to conduct at least 3 presidential debates and at least 1 vice presidential debate. Garcia previously appealed to Congress to pass a law requiring presidential candidates to attend debates and penalizing vets who refuse to participate.